Now imagine you are a warrior on a journey to achieve something great. Not winning battles, but building a profitable automation or sales agency. The road is long, the battles are tough, but one night you meet a magician. He offers you three truths that he learned the hard way. Ignore them, and your journey will be slow and painful. Learn them, and you'll be able to move faster and win bigger. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. No sugarcoating, just straight talk, the kind that wakes you up and makes you face the real truth you've been running from all this time. So let's get into it. So, the first thing I'm going to be talking about is being cheap with tools. So, back then when I first got started, I would meticulously track $39 subscriptions while completely ignoring the $70,000 in opportunity costs from my small thinking. Saad, what is opportunity cost? Well, it's the hidden price that you pay because of your choices, because of your decisions. It's not what you just spend, it's what you lose by choosing one path over another. So, for example, you would cancel a $39 subscription. Well, now you don't have the right tool. So, you lose time, you move slower, and now you missed out on $70,000 of business you could have just closed. That $70,000 you could have had, but you didn't. That's called opportunity costs. Now, this is a big mistake that I used to make, and in talking with hundreds of freelancers and entrepreneurs, 99% of them make this mistake. And the reason why they make this mistake is because deep down, they are afraid of investment, because investment implies commitment. And in your identity, commitment creates the possibility of failure, creates the possibility of genuine failure. And genuine failure would destroy your ego. Okay? And your ego wants to be protected. I mean, think about it. The whole reason why you want to be successful, why you want to achieve financial freedom, why you want to be an entrepreneur, why you want to achieve location freedom is because deep down you have an ego. Okay? And that ego wants to prove itself in society, which is the reason deep down you don't want to work in 9 to 5. Okay? And this is something that I also have, and I'm assuming you guys are like me. You don't want to work in 9 to 5 because you have the belief that you know better than the other person, right? And you just can't take orders from someone because in reality, you know deep down that you can do better, okay? Like I would work 100 hours a week instead of taking orders from like a business owner. Like I would rather go all in and start my own business and bear the pain, the struggle instead of following someone else's orders. So this ego protects you, but you have to understand, and this is the truth, that being cheap with tools isn't really about saving money. It's about keeping yourself safe with excuses. Because as long as you don't have the best tools, you can always tell yourself and cope with the idea that it's not me, it's just what I had to work with. That way, your failures become less scary. But the truth is, and this is the cold hard truth, you'd rather lose with an excuse than find out what really happens when you try at full power. And you know the painful part is that this is exactly the reason why you stay stuck. It's exactly the reason why you are broke. It's exactly the reason why you see all these people in the AI and automation space making thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And you're just asking yourself, why can't I just be these people? Because you simply just keep yourself in the average land because you're too scared to face the truth of what you can actually achieve, of what you can actually become. And by the way, this one insight is worth more than any advice you can get because it just shows that the real block isn't skills or strategy. It's just mental. It's just identity because identity is the root of all mental. So now that you understood this in a psychological level, well, let's just think about it logically. See, you want to become an entrepreneur, okay? You want to capitalize in the AI and automation space. You want to build a business, a successful AI business, sales systems business, sales automation business, whatever, that makes 10, 25, all the way to 50K a month. This business is going to allow you to have financial freedom, location freedom, the ability to have respect from your friends, family, okay, get status from society. But if you're not willing to invest at least a couple $100s in your business, invest at least a couple $100s in yourself, well, it doesn't really make sense to start a business in the first place, okay? I mean, think about it. You're contradicting yourself. You say you want this outcome. You say you want this payoff. You say you want this lifestyle, this type of lifestyle. You say you want this level of comfort in your life. But do you really? Okay? Because it's binary, okay? It's black and white. There's no gray area. It's either you want something and you're willing to actually invest in it, invest in yourself, okay? Because at the end of the day, you're investing in yourself. You're acquiring skills that's going to pay you dividends 10, 20 years from now, okay? And you'll have the ability to teach these skills to your kids, society, whatever, okay? But you're contradicting yourself. So either you are willing to invest and commit, okay, and make sure you do all the daily actions every single day for a long period of time, okay, to get that outcome, or you don't, okay? That's it. There's no hacks, there's no growth hacks. Either you want something or you don't, okay? And if you really want something, you will get it, okay? It's kind of like that quote of, he who has a strong enough why can bear almost anyhow, because he or she are so fixated at their goal that the pain that comes with the journey is simply not existent because we're just so fixated into our goal. Like, I want you to make this your mantra. Hell, if you can tattoo this in your arm, just do it. Like, nothing in life comes free. Certainly not building a successful business, okay? Nothing in life is free, right? Nothing. The second thing that I'm going to be talking about is obsessed with learning and allergic to launching. And this is something that one of my mentors told me. He said, coping with learning is just a blanket that you pull all over your head while your dreams are quietly dying in the corner. And I mean, think about it logically. If you want to learn how to swim, you don't go and just read 50 books about how to swim. Well, you just get into the pool, okay? Because if you don't get into the pool, well, you won't learn how to swim and you will drown. Okay? If you want to learn how to ride a bicycle, well, you don't read 50 books about how to ride a bicycle. You just go ahead and ride the damn bicycle. So the reason why you just keep learning, endlessly consuming content instead of just doing this stuff is because deep down, you're just afraid of the failure that comes with taking action. Because your learning isn't real work. You're protecting yourself, you're protecting your inner child that's within you so you can feel progress but never really face reality. But deep down, think about it right now. Take 5 seconds and think. Deep down, you know that nothing is really happening. Like, the needle is not being moved. Charlie Munger once said, and Charlie Munger is basically the greatest investor of all time. He said, to a man with a hammer, everything looks pretty much like a nail. Now, to you, every business problem looks like a knowledge gap, not an action gap. It's kind of like that warrior archetype, that warrior that's trying to travel the entire planet in order for him or her to find the promised land, to find the hidden treasure, when in reality, the treasure already existed within him or her, because the kingdom of heaven is within you, okay? Well, Saad, how do I fix this problem? Well, the solution is painfully simple. The solution is dead simple. Just invert the problem. Instead of asking, how much do I need to learn before launching, ask yourself, what's the least I need to know to run a small test? Now that's called rational thinking. So the solution is very simple. Just create a system that forces action, because you have to understand that people didn't build billion-dollar or trillion-dollar businesses by reading about business. People started them with incomplete information. They just took action. And let me tell you something, see this anxiety that you have right now is proof that you're finally leaving the spectator section. Because real growth happens in that area. Real growth happens in the damn playground. So there's really two choices. Either you want to be a player or you keep watching from the sidelines, wishing you were a player, wishing you were that person that's actually playing in the arena, in the playground. Now, practically, implement something that I call the 60% rule. And this is something that I routinely use, okay? When you know 60% of what you need, launch. The remaining 40% can only be learned through actual experience. So set a deadline that doesn't move. For example, you would say by Friday 5 p.m., this gets launched. I'm gonna launch, whether I feel like it or not. And another hack you can do is you wanna tell someone who can hold you accountable, because you're just gonna look like a failure if you don't actually just do the thing. Because they're gonna ask you, they're like, did you actually do the thing that you talked about last week? And you're gonna feel like a genuine failure if you didn't actually do it, okay? The pain that you're gonna get from feeling like a failure is much, much more painful than the pain of taking action. The third thing is thinking too small and having sort of that glorified freelancer mindset. And I blame gurus in the AI and automation space for this because they all are pushing this idea of being just a freelancer. Yeah, just go ahead and be an Upwork freelancer or like a Fiverr freelancer and then just compete with 50,000 other people that are selling the same thing for a fraction of the costs. And this just shows me that people are just pushing this idea of just thinking too small. And thinking too small is the worst thing you can do to yourself. And it's very hard to deal with, especially if you grew up poor. And now you have the urge to become successful, to become an entrepreneur, to achieve financial freedom, location freedom, whatever you want in life. So you can show your friends and family, loved ones that you acquired resources. And now you can command respect from them and also respect from your peers and also basically the entire society. But let me tell you something. See, the entire wealth of humanity, the entire wealth of planet Earth has already been achieved, has already been acquired. Like there are trillions of dollars being printed every single day. If you just go outside, there are billions of dollars already sitting in front of you in buildings, concrete, streets, houses. The problem is you look at money as something scarce, but in reality, money is abundant. It's not a fixated resource. It's flowing. It's flowing constantly through the global economy, looking for people and ideas to attach itself to. Okay? And when you look at money, it looks back at you. It's kind of like that abyss. When you stare at the abyss, it looks back at you. It's the same thing. So the market doesn't really care about your childhood. It cares about value, scale, and vision, regardless of where you started. I don't care where you're from. Mr. Market doesn't really care where you're from. It only cares if you can provide value. See, the most dangerous thing is not to become in life. And let me tell you something that's going to give you chills. If you don't become in life, well, you don't get that absolute truth. You don't get the whole truth. The whole truth of your wife, mother, father, friends. You're only gonna get the truth they think you can handle. So the scariest part of not becoming is, holy shit, I don't get that absolute truth. I don't get the whole truth. And when you do get the absolute truth, well, you sit in a quiet, dark room and you go, they didn't think that I could handle it, so they never told me. And you know what's interesting? When you finally break free through a new level of success in life, the most painful revelation isn't the money you missed. It's realizing how many people were silently watching you play small, nodding politely, while never telling you what they really thought it was possible. Your wife's secret disappointment, your father's doubts, your friend's pity, all carefully hidden behind supportive smiles. Because you couldn't handle the truth. And by the way, you know that the most painful thing about any transformation isn't really struggle. And this is something coming from someone who already achieved financial and location freedom. It's realizing that all the limitations that you put on yourself were never real. They were never real from the first place. That people saw more in you than you saw in yourself. But they respected your choice for staying small. Now, where do we go from here? Well, you want to stop being cheap with tools, okay? And understand that in order for you to achieve that 10, 20, all the way to 50K a month in the AI space, AI automation space, build a successful sales systems, automation agency, whatever, you need to understand this identity of being cheap with tools is what's keeping you stuck because it creates this scarcity mindset about spending and investment. Okay, just acknowledge that, be aware of that, because the first step is acknowledgement and awareness about the problem. And when you do, you'll finally start slowly breaking free. And stop being obsessed with learning and just go ahead and take the damn action, because certainty is going to come from taking action. And 3 is just stop thinking too small, because you are worthy of the entire planet's wealth. Okay? It was already acquired and there's no reason for you not to acquire it too. So I'll talk to you soon. Peace.